I make between $1,000 to $2,000 per day at 22 years old by taking Zoom calls for different creators and influencers and closing deals on their behalf. And in this video, I want to break down exactly how I manifested this outcome a couple of years ago and exactly how you can do the same thing as well. None of this guru talk on like big promises and like selling you like this dream and stuff like that. I just want to give you some honest, real stuff that actually worked for me so you can copy me and do the same thing. Because a lot of people have like a weird look at manifestation. And because if you're anything like me, I used to think that manifestation was this like super woo-woo thing where you just like sit there and like hope for something to happen. You just like shout affirmations in the mirror and like just hope for your life to change. But there are 3 principles that I've been applying when it comes to manifestation that really changed my life. It took me from a couple of years ago being broke, stuck, living with my parents, trying to figure out like how I can make my first dollar online, to now having built that life that I used to dream of, that I used to see guys talk about online. Where I can travel all over the world, I have complete freedom, I make multiple 6 figures per year, and I basically just have the ability to never go broke again because I've learned a skill and set myself up for the rest of my life as well. So I've made a bunch of videos about like exactly what to do to get started. But in this video, I want to talk about how to actually manifest your success, because the biggest thing is I see with a lot of beginners trying to get into the high ticket sales and like online entrepreneurship space is they have the right plan. Like the information is out there. You can go on ChatGPT, you can go on Google, you can go on YouTube. I made a bunch of videos breaking down like how to get started in high ticket sales. But what most people like kind of screw up in is they're not matching their energy, they're not matching like their actual focus, and they don't have the commitment to actually see success. I see so many guys get into something, they say that they're willing to commit to it, they say that they're all in, that they're willing to work hard, but their actions don't actually align with their words. And I think manifestation has a huge impact on this, because here's the thing: if you look at someone that's extremely successful, like the best athletes in the world, you look at someone like Michael Phelps if you're into swimming like I am, if you look at someone like Michael Jordan in basketball, etc., etc., like all these guys that got an extreme amount of success in any sports, in business, whatever it is, the reason why they got there is because they believe that they were capable of getting there. You will only take the actions to achieve a certain result if you truly believe, like down to the core of your being, that you can make it happen. Okay, to be honest, you're watching this right now, if you haven't made your first 10K month yet, it's probably because you don't actually believe in yourself enough to take the actions to get there. And that might hurt you, might trigger you when I say this, but understand this is going to help you so much. Okay, because on my journey I've realized like every single time when I'm stuck, when I'm not making the money I want to be making, it's because I lack that like self-belief in certain times to move further. Okay, and you will only take the actions to get the result when you believe that you're capable of achieving the end results. Because it wouldn't make sense. Think about yourself, like if you didn't believe that you could make 10K a month, why would you sit down and grind your ass off when your friends and your family and everyone else is telling you that it's not possible to do? Why would you sit there and keep hustling if you don't believe deep down that you can make it work? You wouldn't, right? So that's why belief and conviction is so important, and manifestation is how you create that. When you have a clear picture of like what you want your life to look like, where you're going, and you go all in on that vision, you become delusional. You tell yourself that you're already this person that's making 10, 20, 30K a month before you become that person. And that's how you end up getting those results, because you need to start acting like that person. So I'm going to stop yapping now, and I'm going to give you the 3 steps to actually make this happen so you can get these results for yourself, because manifestation, it works. And I know your parents and people around you probably tell you that manifestation is this woo-woo thing, but trust me, like from someone who's actually achieved these results myself, and also worked with guys that are making way more money than me, they're making like millions of dollars per year, they do this stuff. Manifestation actually works if you apply it in the right way. And the first thing is understanding that manifestation is not just like sitting there and like hoping for something to change. It's what it is, and like the most simple way to describe it that's been working extremely well for me is to just start identifying as the person that you want to be. So pick your goal, whatever you want. If it's getting in shape, if it's making your first 10K a month, making your first 50K a month, making your first 100K a month, write down exactly, like get very specific here. Like what is that version of yourself, the ideal, like the dream outcome that you have of like being able to, let's say for example, making 20K a month, traveling the world, providing for your parents, driving your dream car, living your dream apartment. Like what does that actually look like? Like very specifically, what does this person do on a day-to-day on their life? Like how do they make decisions? Who do they hang out with? What do they do during their days? What do they eat? Like very specific things. What time do they go to sleep? When do they wake up? How much do they train? Get everything written down on like on a notepad or like a doc on your computer, and then start acting exactly like that person is gonna act right now. Okay, this is so simple, it's so straightforward, but the hard thing here is you need to be able to start acting like that person regardless of having to see your surroundings change. Okay, so here's what I mean by that. You need to start acting like that person that you want to be, that's making, let's say, 10K a month, if that's your goal. But you need to be able to do that for maybe like 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, without expecting to see reality change. Okay, you need to be able to just keep doing this for a long amount of time without expecting your results to change from doing it, because it's going to take time. Okay, getting like your dream reality to like manifest and actually become your true reality, it's going to take time. So that's why you need to just like pick a goal, become very, very clear on it, is commit to acting like that person, but detach yourself from seeing the results, okay? A big mistake a lot of people make is they get the goal, they get everything like sorted out what they want, but then they're so attached to the result, so they're like kind of rushing the process, you know, like they start acting like the person that they want to become for like a week or a month or 2 months. They don't see any results, and they just go back to their old selves and start like rushing through the process, start jumping from thing to thing, changing up business models or focusing on something else, or just like having this like rushed mentality that completely fucks up the manifestation process. So that's why you just commit to the goal, commit to where you want to go, but just detach yourself from achieving the results. You know, just focus solely on acting like the person that you want to become. That's super crucial and very simple to do as well. And the reason why this works extremely well is because if you identify as the person that you want to be right now, you will naturally take the same actions like that person will take. And if you do that for long enough, guess what? You will get the same results as well, okay? Second thing that's super crucial that actually makes this work is you need to pick a path that you can actually stick to for long enough to see results. I see a lot of people screw this up where they just like they pick the business model or like the career path that their parents tell them to do or that someone online tells them to do, you know? You should not pick something that someone else, even if you see someone making a shit ton of money for trading or making a shit ton of money from e-commerce or even from sales like I'm doing, you know? Like don't just pick a path because you see someone making a lot of money doing it. That's the thing, like all paths work. You can make a shit ton of money doing like a boring, like a laundry business. You can make a lot of money like doing moving lawns for people. You can make a lot of money just doing these like boring type of businesses. The thing is you need to pick the thing that you can actually stick to for long enough to actually see results. So look at yourself, like what do you naturally like doing, you know? For example, for me, I've always been super into sales, communication, influence, learning how to like close deals, and just speaking with people and just having those transformational conversations. That's something that I always like to do a lot, just talking to people, having conversations, understanding human psychology and just persuasion and like how people make decisions, becoming a strong leader. I've always been into that stuff, so that's why sales was natural for me. But maybe you're super introverted, maybe you want to get into something like DM setting where you're just like chatting with people, or maybe copywriting, or maybe I don't know, something else, you know? Just look at yourself, like who are you and what skills do you already have right now, like what are you naturally good at, or what are things that you'd be willing to put in the next maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4 years towards mastering, okay? Because here's something that's interesting. When I got into sales first off a couple of years ago, I was not actually super good at sales. I didn't really like speaking with people too much. I was pretty introverted at first, but I knew that I wanted to learn the skill. I knew if I learned the skill of sales, I would have a very fundamental understanding of business. I would be very valuable to the marketplace. So I just knew that I'm willing to commit the next couple of years of my life towards learning the skill. And it also works very well. So just pick something that you know that you can commit not just the next 6 months to, but the next like 2 to 4 years to. Like what are you actually willing to go all in on and go through all like the pain, trial, error it's going to take to get good at it, okay? And for most of you guys, it's going to be sales, because if you don't know how to sell right now, like that is the fundamental skill in all of business. Whatever you decide to go into, making 10K a month, making 50K a month, 100K a month, you need to know how to sell. When you know how to sell it, everything else becomes easier. So I recommend getting into sales, but if you hate talking to people over the phone, you can do something like DM setting, copywriting, etc. Okay? So that's really the second thing, is pick a vehicle not based on what's popping right now, what's hyped and what's like what you see all over social media. Pick something that you are actually able to commit to realistically for the next 2 to 4 years and really think through that. And now the third and last thing that's going to help you to actually manifest your first 10, 20K a month. This is not something that you're probably going to like to hear. It might actually make you a bit uneasy when I tell you this, but this is extremely powerful. It changed my life completely when I did this, but it's probably the most scary thing on this list, probably the most uncomfortable thing you can do, especially as a young guy, which is taking massive steps into uncertainty where you completely burn the boats. To give an example, when I was 18 to 19 years old, I left my parents' house here in Sweden and moved halfway across the world to Colombia, to Medellin. I didn't know anyone out there. I had about $3,500 saved up to my bank account. I just landed a brand new sales role that I didn't know how it's gonna go, how much money I was gonna be making in that. And I just booked that one-way trip and just went for it, you know. There's a lot of risk, a lot of like uncertainty that I moved into. But I just had that kind of like deep trust in myself that I'll be able to figure this out as I go, which obviously I did, you know. But doing stuff like that, where you just like burn the boats, just go one way somewhere. It can be either you like moving your hometown, going all in on a business model, spending the last dollars that you have in your bank account to learn like a skill, get into a coaching program, get mentored by someone, whatever that is. I really want to recommend you to go all in on something. This is going to change your life more than anything else, because number one, what it's going to do, it's going to force you to figure that thing out. A lot of people, they're just like half-assing stuff. They invest like $100 into a course to just learn something, so if it doesn't work out, they haven't really lost too much money, you know? They live with their parents, or they're constantly hanging out with the same circles, they're not really changing their surrounding because it's comfortable, you're used to it, you know? And if something goes wrong, you can always kind of revert back to it. But I promise you, when you go all into something, when you invest, like, for example, like I invested over $8,000 into a coaching program to learn a new skill of getting into sales. You know, that was all the money I had in my bank account at that time. I left my hometown, all my friends, family, to move halfway across the world. I didn't know anyone out there. When you take these massive risks and you just like force yourself to figure stuff out, you show up for yourself. You end up figuring stuff out. You end up getting the results that you want because you have to. And then when you can start doing that, you're gonna develop so much trust within yourself. You're gonna become so much more capable because you realize like, I can actually make shit happen, you know? And this ties back perfectly to what I was talking about in the beginning of this video, about conviction, about believing in yourself. Because self-belief and your ability to just go out in life, get exactly what you want, it all stems back to you believing that you're capable of doing it. And the way you will actually develop that belief is by showing yourself that you're capable of achieving results, okay? And that is why this is so powerful for you to do, is to jump into uncertainty, book a one-way trip somewhere else, jump into like a coaching program, mentorship, invest a lot of money into yourself, and it's like, go all in on figuring stuff out. Get into a remote sales job. Once you get your first paycheck, just like book a one-way trip to Marbella, to Thailand, to Bali, to Colombia, to wherever you want to go, Miami, and just like go all in and commit on it. And I promise you, it's gonna make you so much more confident when you look back at this like 6 months from now, 12 months from now. You realize like, I figured this shit out. I was able to go here with little money to my name and just like figure shit out. You're gonna be so much confident. You're gonna be so much more confident in yourself, and that's when you'll be able to achieve bigger things down the road, because you've started building that conviction in yourself, that self-belief. That's going to reflect in all areas of your life, how you show up, your confidence, your self-image, like everything is going to get so much better when you just start betting on yourself and you start going all in on things instead of just like half-assing. So I want to leave you with this. After watching this video, instead of just going over to the next video and just like keep on brain rotting, actually take action on this stuff. Pick something. It could be investing in something. It could be booking a trip. It could be just going to somewhere where you know that there's high level people hanging out, like hotspots in the world, like Marbella, like Medellin, like Thailand, Bali. Just go to one of these places or invest a big amount of money in a coaching program. Just do something where you have to commit yourself, okay? Because that is the best thing that you can do. When I started doing this stuff, it changed my life completely. I started making a bunch of money and started hanging out with cooler people. But more than anything else, the conviction that developed inside of me, and it's my self-belief that I am capable of figuring stuff out. That's something I can't even explain. You just have to feel that and experience that for yourself. Because when you have no backup plan, success becomes the only option, and you end up just forcing yourself into success. So hopefully this is valuable for you. If you want help from me one-on-one to get into sales, I've helped a bunch of guys at this point to get trained up, learn the skill set, get into their first sales role, and scale to their first $5,000 to $10,000 per month in high-ticket sales. So if you want to learn from me, book a call, download this video to chat with me directly and see if you're a good fit. If you have any questions or you just want to see the results from the guys that I've helped in my one-on-one coaching, you can click my Instagram, download this video and see the results and everything over there. Thanks for watching, keep crushing it guys, and I'll see you in the next video.